Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. So this week I want to talk about some key concepts that have to deal with the impact position. I've been getting a lot of questions from my students recently about if there's any checklist that they have to go through or what are the really main key points that they have to focus on in order for them to have the best chance at obtaining a great impact position. So in this video, I'm going to talk about three of the most crucial things that must happen in the golf swing without exception if you want to be able to eventually get more forward shaft lean, better ball compression, and be able to make a divot on the grass in the right place. And like always, if you guys enjoyed the video, please leave a like. And if you are visiting my channel for the first time, please subscribe to see more golf-related content. So when it comes to impact position, if you watch all the tour pros, any good ball striker in general, if you slow their swing down, they will all demonstrate the same things. So you can see that they're leaning the shaft forward, they're hitting down on the golf ball, they're making a divot. And yes, they may look visually different and they may do certain things differently, but among all of these golfers, all the good ball strikers, there are these three things that are common among all of them. So the first thing that all good ball strikers do, and I've talked about this in a lot of my previous videos, is that they all have the majority of their weight in their lead side. My previous video was about ways on how to get your weight into your lead side, so you can check that out. But I can't stress this idea enough. And it's because most golfers out there, they do not do this one thing nearly enough. And it's so important because the more that you shift your weight into your lead side, the more you get your entire pelvis kind of moving laterally towards the target, it becomes much easier to manage where you strike the ground. It also makes it easier to lean the shaft more forward. There is no good ball striker out there that makes contact with the ball with the majority of their weight on their trail foot. And the reason is because if their weight's on their trail foot, they're bottoming out well behind the golf ball. So they have to make all sorts of compensations in terms of the direction they're swinging the club and how much they're bending their wrists and their arms in order for them to miss the ground and hit the ball. So basically, they're going to be doing more harm to themselves than good. So if you want any chance at getting that impact position that you want, you must, without exception, get the majority of your weight into the lead side by the time you hit. So the second thing that's common among all good ball strikers is since they lean the shaft forward at impact, they will all demonstrate more flexion in the lead wrist, or there's more extension in the trail wrist. So by learning to have your wrist bent in this condition, it allows the grip to stay ahead of the club head, but it also encourages the player to have to accelerate the butt end of the club more, as opposed to getting the club head to accelerate or flip past the grip. Now, in my opinion, the wrist angles or how the wrists are bent for most people is the most challenging just because it happens so quickly. But it's not totally about strength. You're not trying to hold your wrists really, really tight in that position. But you want to focus on accelerating the opposite end of the club more, or making sure that it continues to move away from your body. So a lot of players that tend to get the wrist to break down, they think about throwing the club head or making sure that the club head passes their hands really quickly. But instead, you should think about the butt end of the club continuing to move past the club head and then past your body. You don't want to allow that club head to kind of flip past your hands too much. Now, the third common point that's common among all good ball strikers is the location of where they form the longest point of their golf swing. And with almost every good ball striker, that longest point will always form immediately after they strike it. Now, this is basically a gauge as to how much forward shaft lean that you should have at impact, but most players, you'll find out that if you do film yourself from the face-on view in slow motion and you check this out, you'll either see that you have the longest point behind the golf ball or right at the golf ball. And if that's the case, then most likely your low point is behind the golf ball and not in front of it. So the ideal location for the longest point is immediately after you hit it. So you're going to make it, the contact with forward shaft lean, and just afterwards is when you're going to see the shaft of the club and the lead arm in a straight line, but it's also going to be in line approximately with the inside of the lead leg. Okay, so that's a really good visual indication that not only did you lean the shaft forward the correct amount, but then you've also kind of released the club in the correct place. So by now you're probably saying to yourself, hey John, I know these concepts, I'm familiar with them, I kind of understand what you're meaning, but I just don't know how about going making these changes and applying them. So this drill or exercise is fairly similar to one of the drills I mentioned in my earlier video, about 100% of your weight forward and just hitting some shots doing that. But this is just a different way, or a slightly different way of kind of thinking about it. So it may resonate better with some of you, but I want you guys to give this some thought and maybe try it out and then let me know what you guys think. Now, when I get people to apply these concepts, I get them to think about their chipping. And when it comes to chipping, a lot of people have the right idea that they have to get the vast majority of their weight on the lead side, maybe like 70, 80%. They understand that the handle has to be ahead, and they understand that when they strike the golf ball, that they have to keep the handle forward, they have to keep the shaft leaning forward. And this is all designed to help you catch the ball first and the grass after. So if you are applying all of these fundamentals into chipping, why not extend it out into a full swing? So a great exercise is to actually start off with a basic chip shot while using your 7-iron, and then gradually make your swing bigger and bigger until you are at a full swing again, but continuously apply those same concepts that you use in a basic chip shot. So the first shot, just a basic chip shot like this. Okay. Then the second shot would just be a little bit bigger in your backswing. You can still apply 80% weight left, handle forward, kind of keeping the handle forward post impact. Again, a little bit bigger after that. You can make the stance a little bit wider as well. The bigger you get your swing. You're just hitting these little punches, and then back to like a half swing. And this is all just to give you a sense and feel for that impact position, and to give you a sense and feel for applying all these 3 concepts that I mentioned in this video. All right, thank you guys so much for watching. Now, I hope this video just gave you a short checklist as to what the most crucial parts are, or what you should be focusing on if you are wanting to focus on your impact position. Now, I know you can get really detailed about this, but I think these 3 concepts, if you can really get these down, you'll see a really big change. Be sure to follow me on my Instagram at Jonathan K. Moss if you want to inquire about online lessons. I will also leave a link to my website in the description box below as well, so you can look at all the details. And if you still have some time on your hands and you still are curious about shaft lean, wrist angles, and impact position, things like that, then I would highly encourage you guys to watch this video next. And this is a great video just kind of describing the faults or common faults that people have when they think about lag. And if you do it incorrectly, it can really negatively affect what you do at impact and what your ball flight is doing. So check that out and let me know what you guys think.